That's just too... We need to get this in full frame for today. A little bit higher. I think we're good. Let's go. There he is, aka Powders. It's Alf, the only alien that should live with an American family. Guys, I love Alf, but it's Superman. It's Superman, Fantastic Four month. We're all in. We're no quit. And today, guys, so every single Saturday, I try and bring you guys what's like on the tip of my brain. What we have today, guys. There's artwork in here. Blew my mind. I love the printing. I love the design work, even though it's dated justification, as us graphic designers like to say. But guys, Superman, Christopher Reeve, Richard Donner, and DC Comics are on the brink of bankruptcy. But they're connected to this movie. The movie's a hit. The movie changes everything. So many people, they give over credit to the impact of Star Wars and Jaws for good reason. Especially Star Wars. You guys sell that merchandise. You gotta maintain all the mythology in and around that production. I get it. Superman the movie. Here's the cool thing. When we look at this book, it's going to be, how do you package the greatest of something? Superman, this movie. And guys, I've seen the James Gunn. I've seen it. This movie is still the greatest, not only superhero movie of all time, but it's close enough to the source material. It's almost like right next to it. We can call this a comic book adaptation. Now, the term, put that in air quotes, comic book adaptation it's a loose term. You have to have something to adapt. If not, you're inspired by. This is the delineation that has reprogrammed too many people. There's so many people out there that don't separate the two. They will call, for example, Iron Man 2 a adaptation. Sure, it's got elements inspired by the Extremist storyline, but it's not an adaptation. It has elements, so it's inspired by. You guys follow me? Superman the movie is a one-to-one comic book adaptation. So much so, when it contextualizes the panels onto the screen, it forms like a structured idea around those moments and those ideas about a young Clark Kent and Superman. It recontextualizes everything as it adapts. AKA Powders, let's just have a look at a book, a promo book, if you will, that came out during the time of the greatest superhero movie ever made. Let's go. Yeah, not the book we were talking about. Not the book we were talking about. I want to discuss these two real quick, but you guys saw it today. Superman, the movie, $2.50. Isn't that amazing? And look at those thumbnails. Before we get into any of that, just say hello again to our boy Alf. Come on, guys. Alf needs a comeback. He can only make a comeback with your love. So, why do we have Comic Interview issue 70, Batman the movie? Well, I just want to make a note that we here, when I say we, I mean me. We're not wiki warriors. We spend a lot of time and money with the source material, not just what things are adapted from or inspired by, but everything published around some of these things that we discuss, some of these eras, some of these events on this channel. This is continuing my further study of one Bob Kane. And if you guys don't know, we have a couple channels, a couple videos on this channel that we discuss. Does Bill Finger have a right to even say he was involved with Batman? Should he get credit? So we got those videos. Upcoming, the art of Superman Returns. Some of this artwork here, though, no exaggeration. This, going through this book, opened my eyes to this movie. It just like reopened them. I always liked this movie. I knew what the criticisms were. I always liked it though. So that's coming up on this channel. So today, we have to look at this back cover. We have to get into this. These are the editions of these books that I love. And condition. The edition of the condition. Guys, isn't this amazing? Look at this hole here. That's a Woodrow Wilson. I love the distressed nature of this. The watermarks, the chips. The spine, they call these spine ticks. All those evil collectors out there. A collector's album of the most spectacular movie ever made. Stars, costumes, set design, special effects, and artwork. We have some amazing artwork here. Again, guys, I'm going to do my very best to keep everything in frame. But this is the dated type of graphic design that I absolutely love. And we're not quite, you guys have to remember, we're not quite in the desktop publishing era. So we're doing a lot of what you see here with these. With T-squares, rulers, X-Acto knives, a lot of effing glue, rubber cement, all that good stuff. And you would have to have like tweezers. I don't have any tweezers here, but you would have like tweezers. I can hold chopsticks. But you would have tweezers, right? And you would have to take Marlon Brando and move him over here. And then you would hold him down and hold that glue. That's how this stuff was made. It's amazing that anything was done. We're so used to the computers. But I see this, and just, again, commenting on the design and the production, I see a grid system, and I see unity. There's a perfection in using grids. That is why the grid system is still prominent to this day. I think to truly appreciate it, though, we have to go backwards. And guys, this Superman logo, the shield, the beveling for it, again, probably airbrushed, colored by hand. I love these little like highlights here. These highlight shots, these little reflector sparks. Jack Adler, production manager, Todd Klein, production. It's kind of funny. We see a lot of Todd Klein floating around. When Todd Klein left DC Comics, he later became the art director. I feel free to fact check me. Things changed when Todd Klein left. Krypton, homeworld of Superman. And this is where sometimes you want to compare versions. Like if I got like a case fresh edition of this, I love this peach here because it separates the content from the border. I would question is this dark, right? Or is it going to be a little bit lighter? Again, these are things. But the distressed nature of so many of these photographs, like little baby Jor-El here with just these watermarks on them, these smudges. So we get in, and the way how they present and format this is they bring you through not just what happened with the comics, but how the comic, see, we have these, I love this. The original Phantom Zone, the original origin. This is how Kal-El escapes Krypton as Krypton is being destroyed. We have a couple notes of the origin of the art, but we get to see it. And then above it, they describe to you what is happening in the movie that, and we said this with the intro, that is a one-to-one adaptation of this. Now, they do take liberties with the negative zone, this and that, but when you have a good adaptation, you sometimes you gotta clump things together. Again, there's no such thing as a true adaptation. Maybe in the intro, I was a little hyperbolic. Maybe I mean like a one-to-one spirited adaptation. And this here, so I had to go back to watch it. There was a 3-hour version of this movie on Amazon. I bought it recently because it dropped down to like a couple bucks. So these are the Krypton executioners, and they send this guy to Jor-El. And the idea is that they kind of have this idea that Jor-El might try and leave or bring people with him. But they're isolationists, and no one can leave Krypton. It's a scene that perfectly explains, like, how would you be trapped? If you're as intelligent as Kal-El, how can you be trapped? And in this version of the movie, it's explained. Now, I don't think the scene works well in the movie. I think the way how the movie plays out with the origin and again, you know, the crystal ship getting shot off, I think the way that the movie moves, we understand that he's being persecuted along the way. I don't think that's implied either. So this section here, and I love the young Clark running with the train. Speeding faster than the train, you know, quicker than a speeding bullet, right? This picture of Glenn Ford, it's almost like, oh my, and I don't want to bring you into this, but you go into that James Gunn movie and you almost see like this, like watered down, very slow version of Pa Kent. This is not that. You know, this Kent works. This guy works the field. He works the fields. It's a noble work. It's hard work, but it forms the person. It forms a personality. Hard farm life and a little bit unlucky farm life is a part of the Clark Kent personality. So with all of that, but yeah, so they set up Smallville, the great Superman contest. So this was awesome. So DC did a contest where if you could spell out Superman, Kal-El, Clark in newspaper headlines, that was a part of the contest. And they had, like, look at all the entries. Look at all of the entries. And right here, like, Tim Hussey, Ed Ferdinand were the winners. So they got a tour of the DC offices. Isn't that, that is so freaking cool. Here we have the flight from Krypton, crash landing into Smallville, juxtaposed with the shot in the movie where we, again, too, like, right here. Right? And don't we get, like, has there not been any of the live action Superman that haven't used this shot alone? Like, even with the black burnt soil, right? Like the scorched earth. And then, yeah, another juxtaposition of Clark essentially discovering his powers, and through the death of Pa Kent, his father. See, his real father dies. Because he doesn't have any father. See, when Pa Kent dies, Superman is left alone in this world. Or Clark Kent's left alone. And he must go on a journey. This is, like, this sequence here in the movie is, to me, more powerful. And, yeah, some of it is, we got John Williams there. But it's more powerful than anything like Luke Skywalker looking at the sun and all these little weird glazings that we get outside of context. Like, the people that say those things don't watch everything. They don't compare everything. The Fortress of Solitude, nice explanations there. The contributions to the Fortress of Solitude is the absolute true impact of this movie. You cannot deny the visual expertise, I'll say, that this Fortress of Solitude has. I mean, then they get into what's in the comic book. See, like they set up, they explain to you what is in the movie and what the stuff is, but then to contrast, they say this is the comic book, and they don't say not in the movie. Okay, like, and I think of the time, like readers, I think readers ate this up because this fires the imagination. Because you go back here and you're like, yeah, that's right. Like, this is what the trophy room looks like, and yes, this is the Kryptonian heritage area, like all these things, right? Like this is where Superman sits down, and like searches Pornhub, all these things, right? And but you go back here and you're like, oh, like what are they doing with the movie? And again, in absolute spirit, they're the same exact place. Daily Planet, guys. Jackie Cooper, we have to say it yet again, the greatest Perry White that we've seen. I'm sorry. I like Lois Lane and Margot Robbie too. She photographs so well sometimes. Like in some of her shots, you're like, wow, she really is like a little bit of a newsroom hottie. But you almost want to say the versions of Lois Lane just get better with every single adaptation. Even that new girl for Superman 2025, she's as good as any of the other ones. I think everyone gets put on top of Margot Robbie, even though she has I think she has like the true Lois Lane, like getting into trouble, doesn't know, like doesn't have etiquette. She's like this version of Lois has the sense of getting into trouble, and that's why she's there. Like that's Clark Kent. It just complicates Clark Kent's life. If Lois Lane could do her job and not get into trouble, Clark Kent's life would be a hell of a lot easier. Yeah, see, like here. See, Lois, like this encapsulates everything I just said. Out dancing at a nightclub with Lois Lane, Clark Kent becomes the target of a Lois's disdain when he refuses to intervene in the manly fashion in order to protect her. So like Clark Kent, like I butchered that, but Clark Kent said in this scene, he sacrifices himself, right? He doesn't intervene because he's Clark Kent. So he's not Superman first, he's Clark Kent first. Fantastic Jimmy Olsen. I always forget who played Jimmy Olsen. Cape Wonder stuns city. But look at some of these stills from the movie. See, this is where it gets such a blurry line, right? To where, like, this is where my brain just races. We have illustrations of Superman. We have pictures from the movie, right? Then we have these fake headlines that are meant to represent reality. And the fake reality that they set up in the movie from these pictures are as good as pictures that the real Daily Planet would have made or would have produced or would have published. And the way it works, where, like, again, there's like this real world, like, pull-in that this character has. And it's not just him, it's Metropolis, it's Smallville, the Fortress of Solitude, Krypton, it's all of it. Here we go. In this comic book sequence, from the year 1938, Superman returns Lois Lane to the city's outskirts following their very first meeting. Lois is eager to print a full, exciting story, but her editor refuses even to believe that the Man of Steel exists. Right? Like, we get all of that in Zack Snyder's Man of Steel, where and we will say, Zack Snyder deconstructs this scene. He unpacks it and shows us the path of Lois Lane to Superman, right? Superman, the world's greatest hero. Like, guys, I mean, you see this. I know we've had some good live action Superman, but Superman, Christopher Reeve, still the greatest of all time. I love this. The actors in the comics. And again, too, like, everything's close. And then it's like Gene Hackman, like, not bald, no problem. Gene Hackman, still the greatest Lex Luthor. When it comes to Jor-El, Russell Crowe. See, like, I see what they're doing here, and these are the same things, right? These are the same things that YouTubers are doing, guys. These are memes, right? You show us the new, you bring us the old, right? Like, you show us that we're paying homage to our origins. I mean, come on, guys. And you're going to tell, people are going to say that the new movie is equal to this. Look, oh, that just came out. Guys, we just lost a page. Superman's arch nemesis, Lex Luthor. So we get into what they call Smallville. This is like the first time, and we're 37 pages in. This is like the first break we're seeing to where Superman's relationship with Lex Luthor came from this movie. So here you would have like John Byrne panels. Because previously, people are, they're absolute shitty with true comic book knowledge. There wasn't a lot of this until the movie. There really wasn't. And what we had was Lex Luthor more being a foil for Superboy in Smallville. And that's a whole other like thing to like unpack. But again, too, like, you gotta give Gene Hackman a ton of credit, because he took a silly comic book villain and just he made him accessible. He really did. He opened everyone's eyes to where Lex Luthor could go, and post-crisis DC picked up on it. So this is, look, I love this production artwork. Have you guys ever seen storyboards from this movie? I haven't. And then they get into the production, the approach. A lot of what's said here is in a lot of the documentaries. I believe these guys were consistent because they were truthful. They were very honest with what the approach for the movie was. Period. So you go. There he is. People knock Marlon Brando. I don't understand it. I think, like, didn't Salvador Dali for the Dune movie say if Brando got paid like 15 million for 15 minutes, he wants to get paid 1 million each minute? That was Salvador Dali's caveat for working on Dune. And fantastic. Again, like, on the set, artwork here, like, really cool stuff. And you kind of want to say, right, like, this is the drawing side. I mean, this looks like Kubert, but this also looks like Gene Colan. Oh, yeah. Rick, I can't read that signature. Guys, Rick Estrada, is that signature? I didn't even realize this had a signature. That is awesome. And again, too, like, this is a little bit of like the crossing of the worlds. Like, Superman, DC comic books, drawing, film set. Let's sell the engagement. Let's sell that the people making this movie were all aware of what is happening in this production. Like, even this, like, look at this quote from Marlon Brando: "We must preserve the myth." Look, I really started the business because of Brando. So, like, again, like, Gene Hackman, just probably just wanting to be in the Marlon Brando movie. That's how people always say, like, how did Gene Hackman end up in Superman? It's like, you know, it's not just the money. It's like the whole. If you guys watch the new F1 movie, the whole point of that movie is you never do it for the money. The greats never do it for the money. That's the whole point of F1. The greats never do it for the money. He wanted to be in a Marlon Brando movie. Ned Beatty, like, come on. Yeah, Trevor Howard. I always forget. Some of these, like, again, like Terrence Howard. It's like too much, man. Then we get this production artwork of Jor-El visiting his son at the Fortress of Solitude. Costume designer, like, but guys, production artwork. We get a glimpse of the costume design. This is the final rendering for the movie. Yvonne Blake, like, AKA Patters. Woodrow Wilson time and John Williams, right? Like, rightfully closing out the book. This really blew me away. I got this so cheap off of eBay. They were kind of shooting up in price. I think I got this for $7 or $8 with $8 shipping. I said, I just don't care. And I don't know. Like, I want to go through this more, but this is a welcomed addition to the library. It really is. And I'm happy and I'm grateful to share this with you guys. All right. If you're still in the video, let me know. Let me know who you see on screen at the end.